actor, your job is to bring truth to your characters. When you're playing somebody like Daniel, whose lived experiences are so different from your own, what is that prep process like getting ready to step into his shoes?
I think in order to tap into what that is, you just have to build the beliefs about the character. You know, I think whenever I'm acting, if I don't believe it, then the audience members won't, And I think for this particular project, I'm not a father, so at first I was super apprehensive in doing the project because I don't have that life experience.
Mhm.
But I just took the bewilderment of being a dad and how crazy it is to be a dad, and I just put it into the story. Every time I looked at Kai, I would just be like, man, this is crazy. I'm a dad. And I just utilized that the the shock factor of like me being like, man, I'm actually a father, and then just having that
Mm.
push to the character. And I chatted with Ben a lot, and Ben has two kids, and then his idea of like what it is to be a dad is just having a part of you, like your heart, ripped out and placed into somebody else. And so every time I saw Kai, the actress that played my daughter, Colette, um, I just use that as my bass note to push me forward.
When we've spoken in the past, you chatted about the sacrifices your parents made for you to pursue your own passions. I don't know, they foster that imagination that feels very similar to Daniel and Colette, especially in the line when he tells Child Protective Services that school isn't built for big imaginations. How much did you reference everything that your parents have done for you when embodying Daniel and his daughter? Have the chance to see the film yet?
It's interesting because like I didn't really realize as you get older you realize all the sacrifices that your parents make so that you can do what you do today, like, and for me especially when I was working on this film and playing Daniel and realizing the amount of sacrifices that I had to make and trying to understand whether or not that was good enough. um
Mm.
like you do your best, and yet like you're going through all these crazy circumstances and it's still not enough. And it just made me realize the amount of sacrifices that my parents have made so that I can be where I am today. And I always look back into my past and think about how, like, my parents did foster my imagination. And Daniel in the same way is trying to do that for his daughter, despite all the hardships that he faces throughout the film.
That's not the only moment within the film that feels like you were able to bring a lot of your own self to this character, including the little shout out that you gave to your friend Tony. Were there other qualities of Daniel that you brought to him that initially weren't on the page that help you bridge your own connection with him? With Ben being writer director, how did that partnership and the environment that he fostered allow you to push your performance and make bold creative decisions?
I mean, it was already written in the script, but Daniel's a dancer, so like putting putting the physicality of me as a dancer into the film was yeah, it was cool to incorporate. There's scenes in the movie that we actually took from like footage from
Mhm.
stuff that I've experienced as a dancer back in college or after or post college. When after the America's Best Dance Crew show, we were able to travel around and do a lot of dance performances, so we were able to put some of those pieces into the movie as well. Yeah, and it was fun to like shout out friends that I've danced with into the movie and to put it into the script. It sort of gave it this kind of meta kind of feel. Um, yeah, I guess in terms of that, I think maybe just the physicality of the character. But I was thinking about it too. Like, I don't want to give too much away about the movie, but he he does like the character does get into some kind of injury, and I was chatting with Ben about it, and I thought maybe like, and we should have thought about this earlier. Like, it would have made the character more stronger if like the whole time, like that physical ailment still existed throughout the movie.
Like you were saying earlier, the film doesn't work unless audiences believe that father-daughter relationship, and it really resonates off the screen. How were you and Kai able to build that dynamic while filming during a pandemic?
Yeah, we just reached a level of rapport so quickly. And it was just fun. I mean, acting with someone at that age, you learn so much, even though I've been acting for a longer period of time. There's this kind of freshness in acting with a child, and like it's funny because before they call action, we're just messing around, we're playing around, and just like it just having like pure father-daughter moments. And then once they call action and we get into like these serious scenes, but it was so easy and it just flowed so easily to work with Kai. I think it just came super naturally. And just every time I saw her and just had a glimpse of what it would be like to be a dad, it just pushed me into the character. Another thing that helped propel me too was just looking at my daughter and seeing parts of her in like oh man, this is gonna give away the movie too. But like seeing parts of my old partner or her
Mm.
mom in her.
Hmm.
And just like and obviously us shooting this during the pandemic and the desire for me to be close to her, but the inability to not be because of the circumstances in the story sort of match what was going on during that time during COVID.
Yeah, life imitating art. And your portrayal of death is so nuanced, empathetic, and grounded. It's an interpretation that we don't often see on screen. And so much of that humanity is seen through his relationship with Sonny and the way that story unfolds. And Michael's built such an illustrious tenure in this industry. What did you learn from your collaboration working with him?
Um, And it was just a lot of fun working with Michael. It was so easy, and then in the movie, I sort of saw him as just like this father figure, like
Hmm.
kind of like a mentor, and the only person that I could truly connect because he didn't see the physical parts of who I embody, and
Hmm.
so you know that being removed, it was easy for us to have that a relationship in the story, and he's a person that sort of grounds me on my journey so I can continue to be the dad that I want to be. Um, yeah, man, it was just a lot of fun. Like he's such a great actor, and when you put two people together that on screen and when it's easy, like it's easy to create really powerful scenes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you've also worked on projects of all sizes. What is it about independent filmmaking that excites you as a creative and a storyteller?
And independent film is so fun because there's so much of a collaboration that is involved in creating the magic. When stuff is made at a studio level, you don't really have that much say. There's no liberty to really voice your ideas. I mean, as an actor, like I'm slowly continuing to be able to learn how to do that in those kind of environments. But within indie film, it's just there are so many ups and downs. There are so many hiccups that do happen, but sometimes like those hiccups are what create the magic and the final product. It's sort of we sort of utilize um, the things that are thrown against us, like time crunches or like having to shift certain things in order to elevate the story. And there's excitement in that. It's a sort of like underground guerrilla kind of shooting style where things have to go quick and everyone's got to work together and everyone's got to be on the same page to make it happen.
Being an Asian American creative in this industry, roles like this don't come often. While it is an Asian created and led project, it's also a very universal story. As Ba continues to make its festival run, how do you hope this project could potentially open future doors for our community, both in front of and behind the camera?
Yeah, I think that this project is interesting too because like it it's an Asian cast about an Asian family, but they don't necessarily have to be Asian, and we don't even really talk about it. It's just a father-daughter story where a father just who encounters like a crazy circumstances just unable to like be close to his daughter. And so like it's a universal story that anybody can find rapport with or can relate to. And so I think because of that, I think it can push other filmmakers to other Asian filmmakers to make stories that don't necessarily have to focus on like, oh, being Asian or talking about Asian things or yeah, I mean, it's also cool to chat about those things too and to talk
Hmm.
about our culture, but also, it just opens more doors and more possibilities. And especially this film, which uses genre to push the story forward. I think
Yeah.
it's cool and hopefully can give other people more ideas and expand, their imaginations.
Speaking of that universality, this film is making its way around the festival circuit. It's been screened in many different markets. What has it been like for you to see the response that it's invoking in all these different countries?
It's super cool just to go to another country where the culture is entirely different from here, and to see them embrace the movie as well. It was in Brazil recently, and it was cool to see Portuguese subtitles, and
Mm.
people reacted so positively to it. Um, it was funny too because I don't think people knew we were at the screening, and then I went to use the bathroom, and then when I came out, some guy came up to me and then was like, "Man, the scariest part of today was like seeing seeing you, the personification of death, walk into the bathroom," and then he sort of shuddered when he saw me, and that was funny. It was just cool to just receive like really positive feedback. A lot of people love the story, and then a father came up to me and said like, man, like he really related to it because he's a single dad, and
Mm.
he was talking about the struggles of just being a single father, and then he really felt like the film really encapsulated that feeling, that emotion.
And then outside of Ba, it was also recently announced that you're going to be starring in Fortune's Shadow. Is there anything that you can tell us about that project?
It's a cool little action movie that we shot back in, I believe, earlier on this year in February and March in Arkansas, and it stars Michael Rooker and Theo Rossi. It'll be fun. Like I don't want to spoil anything, but it sort of has like John Woo-esque vibes, a lot of gunfights, and a really cool story. And that project was really full circle for me too because um my first big TV thing was like a co-star thing on Walking Dead. So I worked with Michael Rooker. So being able to work with him again brought everything full circle. And also being able to work with Leonard too, who um who pretty much guided me in the beginning of my career when I first started, like when I first
Mm.
started doing TV and film. Like I did a little short with him, and then he sort of helped me get to you know uh he guided me along the way, and to be able to work with him again in this cool little action movie, yeah, it just brings everything full circle, and it should be coming out early next year.